of the tutorial series on AWS Glue. In this video, I will cover how to configure and use AWS Glue CSV custom classifier. This is going to be a hands-on video, but if you want to learn about what is classifier, the role of classifier and how crawlers choose classifier, and finally when to use the custom classifier, then please go through the part 6 video of this tutorial series and the link is in the video description. So guys, before we move on, I would like to request you to please like and share the videos and please subscribe to the channel if you have already not subscribed, and I really appreciate your support. So now moving along, what are the things that we are going to cover as a part of this hands-on video? So we will have a CSV file and then we will implement things around that. We will start with the creation of the database, followed by the creation of the crawler with the built-in classifier. Then we are going to run that crawler and populate the data catalog or the table. And then we are going to see how that crawler performed or how that built-in classifier performed upon the CSV file. Then we are going to modify the CSV file in the sense that we will change the delimiter, we will add quotes to data. Okay, and then again we will rerun that crawler with the built-in classifier to see how that crawler or the built-in classifier performed upon the modified CSV file. Finally, we will create the custom classifier and then we will repeat the process of the creation of the crawler and then rerunning it and checking the outcome. Okay, so at the high level, these are the steps that we are going to follow as a part of this hands-on video. But now comes the interesting question. Can we use Grok custom classifier to infer the structure of the CSV data? Think about it. And I will cover this as well as a part of this video, so make sure to watch the full video. So now let's quickly go through the CSV file that we are going to use in this video. As you can see on my screen, this is the file that we are going to use. So here we have, I guess, 7 to 8 columns and the data is separated by the semicolon as the delimiter. Okay, so we have the columns that is username, identifier, one-time password, recovery code, first name, last name, department and location. So this is the original.csv file that we are going to use, and then we will have the modified.csv file where I have made some modification. I have replaced the delimiter that is semicolon with the hash, right? So here the delimiter is a hash, and then I have wrapped around all the data within double quotes. Okay, so this is the modification that I have made as a part of the modified.csv. So these are the two files that we are going to use as a part of this video. So we will start with the original.csv. So now let's go to the AWS management console and let's go to the S3 management console. So the first thing that you need to do is to upload these two files into the directory, right? So that I have already did. So let me quickly show you the structure. So here I have this bucket that is AWS Glue demo tutorial series, and within that bucket I have the folder named as CSV custom classifier demo, and within this folder I have another two folders, that is original CSV and the modified CSV. So we will start with the original-CSV and here we have the original.csv file. Okay, now as a next step we will move on to the AWS Glue management console and we are going to create the database. So click on databases, click on add database, give the database name. I will say CSV custom DB and then click on create database. Now once the database is created, click on crawlers from the left panel. So we are going to infer the structure of original.csv file that looks something like this. So click on create crawler, give the crawler name. I will say CSV original-CSV. Click on next. Provide the data source. Click on add a data source. Data source will be S3. Provide the S3 URI. So I'm going to copy the S3 URI from here, paste it over here. Make sure you do not include the file name. It should be the reference to the folder in which the file is sitting. Okay, click on add S3 data source. As of now, we are not going to configure custom classifiers because we want to run this crawler using the built-in classifier, and then we want that built-in classifier to infer the structure of the CSV file. Okay, click on next. Here you need to provide the permission, select the IAM role. So if you are referring this video or you are viewing this video for the first time, then I would highly encourage you to go through the previous videos of this tutorial series where I have covered the crawlers and the IAM roles and all those things step by step. After selecting the IAM role, click on next. Select the target database. In our case, it will be CSV custom DB. Provide the table name prefix. I will say original -CSV built-in -. Click on next. Click on create crawler. And now once the crawler is created, click on run crawler. Now the crawler is in running state. So let's wait. So now as you can see on my screen, the crawler run is completed. Now let's have a look at the database. So click on databases, open the database that we have just created, that is CSV custom DB. And within this, we should be able to see a table that is populated, right? That says original CSV built-in -original _ CSV. And the classification string is CSV. The location of that file is within this bucket or in this location, right? And this table is created under CSV custom DB. So now if we open this table, we should be able to see all the columns, that is username, identifier, one-time password, and so on, along with its respective data type. Okay. And then if we look at the advanced properties, then here the delimiter that it has identified is semicolon. And here we have other table properties that you can, look at. So here, if we look at our columns quoted, so the columns are not quoted, right? So that's where it's false. And then here we have the delimiter and the type of data. So since we had the CSV file, so the type of data is file. Classification is CSV, compression type is none because we didn't had any sort of compression. Then here we have the meta information about crawler, schema, deserializer version, average record size 66, record count we have 5. Then again we have some version, updated by the crawler name, object count. So it means that how many files were present in the folder within S3. So it's 1, right? So that's where it's 1. Then we have the size key and the skip header line count 1. Okay. So basically the built-in classifier was able to infer the structure of the CSV file, and then it was able to populate the schema for us. So that's basically using the built-in classifier. Now as a next step, what we are going to do is we are going to use the same crawler but upon this modified.csv file. So here what we did, we replaced the delimiter that was semicolon with the hash sign, and then we wrapped all the data points within double quotes. So this is how the modified CSV looks like. Now again, I already have that CSV file within this modified-CSV folder. Okay, that is modified.csv. So what I'm going to do is I will go back to the crawlers. I will open the crawler that I had created, that is CSV original-CSV. Okay, I'm going to edit this crawler because I need to update the data source. Right now, I want this crawler to look into the modified-CSV folder and not within original-CSV, so that this crawler can pick modified.csv file to infer the structure of the data. Okay, so that's where we updated the data source. Click on update S3 data source. Finally, we will also modify the prefix. So here we will say modified-CSV built-in. So this crawler will try to infer the structure of the modified.csv file using the built-in classifier. And then click on next, update the crawler, and finally let's rerun this crawler. So now the crawler run has started, so let's wait. The crawler run is completed. So now let's go to the databases, open the database, that is CSV custom DB. And within this, we should be able to see another table, that is modified CSV built-in -modified _ CSV. So this is the location. So if you see, the location is changed to modified -CSV. Okay. But if you look at the classification, then it says unknown. It means that built-in classifier was unable to determine the schema or the structure of the modified.csv data. So if we open this, then we will not be able to see any schema or any mapping of the column name and the data type because the classification is unknown. So whenever the built-in classifier or any of the classifier fails to identify or determine the schema, then it will return the classification string as unknown. In case if you want to learn about how crawler chooses the classifier, then please go through the part 6 video of this tutorial series. In that video, I have covered that topic. So now as a next step, what we are going to do, we are going to create the classifier, that is the CSV custom classifier. So to create classifier, click on classifiers under crawlers. Click on add classifier, give the classifier name. I will say CSV custom demo. Within classifier type and properties, we are going to select CSV. Now here you need to configure few parameters. The first parameter is column delimiter. So in our case, it's hash as a delimiter, right? So we are going to select other, but here there are also predefined delimiter that you can select. But if it is not available as a part of this list, then you can select other and provide the custom delimiter. So in my case, it's hash. Quote symbol, in my case, it's double quote. So if we look at the file that is modified.csv, then the quote symbol is double quotes. So that's where I have selected the double quote. But you need to make sure, right? It must be a single character and it should be different than the column delimiter, right? So column delimiter and quote symbol cannot be same. So the column delimiter is hash in my case, quote symbol is double quote. Now coming to the column headings. So here we have three options. So if you want this classifier to detect the headings automatically, then you can select the first option. If there are no headings in your CSV file, then you can select the third option. And the second option is it has headings. Now, if you want to manually provide the heading names or the list of headings, then you can provide it over here, but this is optional. So what we will do, we will provide the list of headings. So I will go back to modified.csv or maybe original.csv. I will copy this. I will quickly open a new one. I will replace this semicolon with the comma because we need to provide the list of headers, right? So that's where it should be comma separated. I will say replace all. I will copy this. Here it is not necessary that you provide the same header name as it is there in the CSV file. You can modify the column name. For example, you want to store first name as f_name or location as LOC. So that sort of modification you can do while entering the list of headers in the CSV custom classifier. So now I will copy this and paste it over here. Okay, so these are the headings that I have as a part of my file or as a part of my input data. So here we provided the column headings manually. Then we have processing option. So these options are pretty much self-explanatory. So allow files with a single column. So if there is a single column in your CSV and you want this classifier to infer that, then you can check that option. Okay, and then the second option is trim white space before identifying column values. So we are going to check this as well. Now, apart from this, do you want to map the data type for each of the column that you have provided? Right, so if you want to map it, then you need to provide the data types, which is again the comma separated value. So what we will do, we will provide this information as well. Okay, so username is string, identifier, if we look at the identifier data, then it's 901220704081. Okay, so it is basically an integer. One time password. So I think apart from identifier, all other fields are string. So I will put in string for rest of the column. So how many columns we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 and 8. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 and one more. Okay. So this will be the mapping of the data type with the headers. So let's copy this and paste it over here. So if you do not provide custom data type, that's totally fine, right? So classifier will take care of that. Now the supported data types are, if you click on this info, right? So these are the supported data type. So you cannot provide any other data type apart from the mentioned in the list on the right side. Okay. So just go through that. Now, once you are done with this configuration, click on create. And now we have successfully created the custom CSV classifier. As a next step, click on crawlers. We are going to create a new crawler. Provide the crawler name. I will say custom CSV classifier. Click on next. Add a data source. In my case, it's going to be the modified-CSV folder. Basically the reference to that folder. Make sure you do not mention the file name. So S3 path should be the reference to the directory in which your data is sitting. Click on add an S3 data source. Now once the data source is configured, within this crawler, we are going to configure the custom classifiers. Okay, so we are going to select the classifier that we have just created, right? So what was the name? Oh, I think there are a lot of CSV, right? So what I will do is I will delete all the classifiers which is of type CSV. Okay, I think the one that we created was CSV custom demo. Rest of them I will select and I will say delete just to avoid the confusion. So if we open this, so it says CSV custom demo, it has headings and we have set that, and the custom data types, the quote symbol is double quote. So we are good here. So let me close this. Let me reload this. Now we will select CSV custom demo. Click on next. Provide the permission. So I will select the AWS Glue data catalog crawler as an IAM role. Click on next. Select the target database, that is CSV custom DB. Provide the table name prefix. So in my case, I will provide custom classifier -CSV -. Okay, click on next, create crawler, run the crawler. So now the crawler is in running state. So let's wait. So while we ran the built-in classifier on top of modified.csv or on top of modified CSV file, it was unable to determine or identify or infer the structure of that file, right? So that is the reason we have to go ahead and define the custom classifier so that we can infer the structure of that modified.csv and populate it as a part of the data catalog in the form of table. Okay, so that was the reason that we have created the custom CSV classifier. Now, as you can see, the crawler run is completed. Let's have a look at the populated tables. So click on databases, open CSV custom DB. Now here we should be able to see one more table, that is custom classifier CSV modified. So this is the database S3 location, that is modified-CSV. And now if you look at the classification type, then it says it's a CSV. Okay, that means our custom classifier was successfully able to infer the structure of the data of the CSV file, and it was successfully able to populate the schema for us. So now if you look at the schema, then here we have all the columns. And if you look at the data type, so for identifier, we defined int. That's where the data type is int. Else, I think the built-in classifier populated the big int, right? So this is how the mapping also works. And then here we have rest of the columns as well along with its data type. Now if we look at the advanced properties, then here we have two parameters, right? So one is separator character, that is hash. So this is nothing but a delimiter. And then we have the quote character, that is double quote. That means our data is wrapped within double quotes. Similar table properties, but now if you look at our columns quoted, so it is set to true. And then the delimiter is hash, and you can go through the rest of the key value pairs of this table properties. So guys, basically built-in classifier failed to identify or infer the structure of modified.csv file. So that is where we created the custom CSV classifier, and with the help of that, we were successfully able to infer the structure of the data. And this is the beauty of custom classifier. So now coming to the question that can we use Grok custom classifier to infer the structure of modified.csv? And the answer is yes. So let's go ahead and create the custom Grok classifier or Grok custom classifier. So click on classifiers, click on add classifier, provide the classifier name. I will say Grok-CSV classifier. Within classifier type, I will select Grok, then we need to provide the classification name. I will say Grok-CSV classifier. And then we need to provide the Grok pattern, which is able to kind of infer the structure of that modified.csv file. So I already have the Grok pattern for that. So here, as you can see on my screen, I have this pattern. So if I take you through this pattern, I will paste it over here within modified.csv. So we start with double quotes, then we have defined the data, that is nothing but the Grok pattern, Grok built-in pattern that comes as a part of the AWS Glue. Then how we want to store that information, what would be the column name, so that is username, that is separated by colon. And optionally, you can also define the data type, that is separated by colon, and the data type name. But here we are not going to enter the data type. Okay, so that's for the username, followed by the double quote, hash, that is the delimiter, then again data, that is the Grok pattern, followed by the identifier, and so on, right, for all the fields. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy this pattern, paste it over here, and click on create. If you want to learn more about the Grok custom classifier, then I have covered all the aspects of it in the part 6 video of this tutorial series. So now since we have created the custom classifier, let's click on crawlers and create the crawler. So I'm going to make a copy of this custom CSV class and then I will do the modifications. So I will duplicate this crawler. I will modify the crawler name. I will say custom Grok classifier crawl, something like this. Click on next. Data source will remain as it is. As a part of the custom classifier, we are going to remove this. And then we will select Grok CSV classifier that we have just created. Click on next, next again. We will modify the table name prefix. I will say custom classifier Grok-CSV. Click on next, create the crawler. And once the crawler is created, let's run this. Now the crawler is in running state. So let's wait. So now as you can see, the crawler run is completed. So let's go to databases, open CSV custom DB, and within that we should be able to see one more table, that is custom classifier Grok-CSV, and the classification is Grok CSV classifier. It's the same name that we have given as a part of the custom Grok or the Grok custom classifier. Now if we open this, we should be able to see all the columns, right, that we have defined as a part of that pattern and its respective data type. Within advanced properties, so here we have the input format as the Grok pattern and other table properties over here. Okay, so guys, this is how you can also use Grok custom classifier to infer the structure of the certain data that you have. And the CSV file that we have considered as a part of this video is just a simple CSV file. So this was just an example to mimic that how built-in classifier fails and how we can leverage CSV custom classifier to infer such sort of structure, and also using Grok classifier as well. Okay. As a last step, let's have a look at the data of this particular tables. So let's navigate to Athena to query the data. Within Athena, the data source will be AWS data catalog. Within database, we are going to select CSV custom DB. And here we have a couple of tables. So custom classifier, CSV modified CSV. Let's preview the table. So as you can see, this is how the data looks like. Let's have a look at the Grok table as well. So preview table. And again, here we have the similar sort of structure and the outcome, right? So basically this is how you can also query the data using Athena. So guys, I hope you learned something new today, and that was all that I wanted to cover as a part of this video. Until that time, if you want me to do tutorial on any use case or service, then please leave them below and I will try my best to come up with the tutorial as soon as possible. And if you have any queries or comments, then again please leave them below, and don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel, and see you next time.